What's going on, guys? This is Matt Marinoff, Real Estate Recovery Group. Pretty excited today. I have Adriana Cueva. She's a real estate agent in the state of New Jersey. I'm very fortunate. She's actually on vacation right now, taking a little time with her family. So I'm happy to have her on. Let me tell you a little bit about this young lady. She's raised in Newark, proud to still that she still is a homeowner in Newark. She's made some really amazing strides in the industry. She has a degree in hospitality management. However, she never used a degree. Uh, Basically, you were in the raw, what is it?
I was in the raw material supply
Raw materials
industry for 3 years.
for 5 years, right? Um, you worked at front desk for 1 year with a company. Uh, Basically, you've always strived at sales, and you've been in real estate, and you focused your career on becoming a resource in education or educating buyers before they make a decision, making sales, and you like to guide people and making the right decision, and basically making sure that they purchase the right property for their family, which I think is honestly, I think is very noble. Most people just want to do a sale on the property, and they really don't truly care about the family themselves. So you are a perfect example of people before profit. Um, Basically, you like to, you work with your clients and in all different aspects of the real estate industry. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me, Matt. As you know, I have been following you for a while now, and I also admire what you do. So I think it's great to team up a little bit and show people what we can do.
I really appreciate that. So you were at my short sale boot camp last year, correct?
Yes, I was. I was
What
there
was
last year. I had been probably following you for a year before that.
what was your impression when you came to the event? Just out of curiosity.
I loved it because there was a lot of knowledge that was being put out there. Like I have always been following people that know what they're doing. There's a lot of people in the industry, but not everyone knows what they're doing. And like you said before, everyone goes behind the quick sale.
Right,
But when you're able to have information that later on you could bring on to your clients, and
right.
that people like you that have been doing this for such a long time are able to tell us that what you've been through and what you have learned before we have to experience it ourselves, then it brings a lot of info that we could also pass on.
We try to educate people as the best we can. In the industry that we're in the service industry. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's always about the client. And
Exactly.
I know that the client is always supposed to be right, but in a situation like this, when they're really making one of the biggest purchases that they could possibly make, sometimes they're acting on impulse, and
Yes.
they're not acting rational. And let's say the mortgage payment would be $1,400 a month. Now the payment's $1,700 a month. Like, we can make it happen. What happens if the taxes go up? What happens if their insurance gets adjusted? There's multiple issues that could come. What maybe their association fees would go up. Maybe there's a special assessment. So there are always things that come into play. So I appreciate you have a very strong reputation in this industry. I've never heard one bad thing about you, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. One of the lives. So I appreciate you coming on.
That's very nice to hear, Matt. I don't know what representation I have out there because I've never focused myself on what others say. I have always focused myself on doing the right thing. I always tell my clients, look at the numbers the right way before you place an offer. Make sure you're not house rich. Don't go out buying the most beautiful house you see just because right now the bank is telling you could afford it. The bank doesn't know what vacations you want to take, what plans and goals you have other than your house. So
Right.
always look at the final number before you actually just jump in and say, yeah, this is the dream house I want.
Absolutely. I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. Very simple questions. I don't put people on the spot, but there are, I tailor these questions specifically to you. I guess my main question is, why do you like to help others so much? What is it that's ingrained in you that you like to help others?
No, I have always liked to be on the other side. Thankfully, I'm very grateful every day that I'm not the person that has to seek out for help from others most of the time. I try to self-educate myself and always look at knowing what I'm doing. So,
Mhm.
being able to, like now that I'm helping out at food banks and meal distributions, being able to be the one handing out things makes me just grateful every day that I don't have to be on the other end and that I don't have to be, asking for things or being on the side that needs help from others. So for me, helping others at the end of the day makes me feel rewarded. It makes me feel when I go to bed, I have such a peaceful mind knowing that I have been able to help others and make their life a little bit better.
That's amazing. Have you ever been in a situation where there wasn't food on the table?
I was in a situation when I was young and I started on my own. When I was 18, I said I'm moving out and I'll do it on my own. At my
Okay.
parents' house, I never had a lack of anything. I always had everything. But I had that sense that I wanted to be free. I wanted to do whatever I want as soon as I hit 18. My father always tell me, you're under my roof. You do whatever I tell you to do until you're 18. So when I was 18, I packed my bags and I said, I'm ready. I'm doing what I have to do.
Right.
I wasn't ready. I didn't know everything at 18. I wasn't ready. So yeah, there is a time that you feel struggling because you're 18, you're still in college, and you think you were going to be able to live on your own. That didn't last long. I came back a few years later, but I'm here now. So it was all a learning experience.
Now you had mentioned that you went to school for hospitality uh,
Yes,
and and restaurant management.
correct.
So
That's what I did.
so you went to school for hotel management and hospitality. But let me ask you a question. What was it that you took the time, you went, you got an actual degree, and then you never used it? Why?
I took that degree because it was something that I felt like I knew that it was something that, I felt comfortable with at that point. I was the first one to go to college in my family. So I knew nothing about college admissions or I had no one to guide me through it either. So the first college interview that I went, they told me what degrees they offered, and I said, okay, I'll pick that one because I figured my father had worked in the restaurant industry, so I figured, yeah, there is a possibility in the area that I live that this degree will get me somewhere.
Mhm.
I didn't use it later on because then an opportunity came on the raw material supply industry, like I had mentioned before, and I started there just as customer service, just to get it pretty much as a first job, other than catering businesses and things that I had done while I was in college or in school. So I did the front desk, and I quickly went from within the month. I went from front desk to sales. I know the first time that I was offered a sales position, I said, no, I'm not the person to sell. I can't sell anything. Um, but then she was like, you're going to get a bigger salary at the sales department and you're going to be, just give it a try. And I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And I went from that front desk position within a year to being the sales director at the company and making over $1 million in sales within the first year. So that showed me that I was able to do sales and do them my way. I didn't have to be the pushy salesperson that would call everyone all the time. I was just keeping in touch with my clients as we went through, and they will come back to me.
So, guys, my guest today is Adriana Cueva, and we're talking about her journey to getting into real estate. What cracks me up is that you actually had probably not the proper guidance growing up and saying, this is what you can do, this is how you can do it. You basically told me at 18 you wanted out. You packed your bags, you went on your own, you're like, I'm ready to do this. And then you're like, what? You're probably like, oh my God, what did I do? So, and I get that. And most people are like that. But there was something that was innate, that was in you, right? Being in sales. You're a salesperson. I don't care what type of salesperson you are. You can be a W 2, but if you're in sales, you really have a mentality of an entrepreneur because
Exactly.
you're relying on your skills and your senses, your spidey sense, to be able to provide a service, no matter what it was. Explain the type of stuff that you were actually selling.
It was all in ground form. We sold veggies, plants, everything in ground form to vitamin suppliers mostly. So the companies that make vitamins or that do all these natural products that you see at the like aisle at the pharmacy, we sold them everything to do all those capsules. So I sold tons and tons of like maca powder and veggie powders and things like that.
Well, all right. Hey, listen, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. Did you ever
Yeah,
sell? Did you ever sell marijuana?
I did not. It wasn't legal at that time.
I'm only kidding around, but not really. But really, I am
No.
kidding around. Okay, so basically, you like to help others, and obviously you're doing it for a reason, and you have it for a passion. We know why you wanted to help others so much, but why did you decide? And this is important because I read this in what you wrote. You decided to become a resource, basically for others. Why did you want to be? Really, what it is the voice. Why did you want to be the resource for others? Why?
When I decided that I was gonna go into real estate, we were renting an apartment at the time at the house that we now own, and the officer came to the door and gave us a foreclosure notice. The house was being foreclosed from the owner at that time, and I said, there must be a lot of people out there going through situations like this, and they don't know what to do. There's a big lack of because I had no idea what to do when I received that because I was not yet into the real estate industry. I wasn't a homeowner, so I was like, okay, what does it take for us as tenants? What's it going to happen if this house does get foreclosed? So that was what piqued my interest. Knowing that there might be other people that were going to be able to lose their house or were in the risk of losing their house and not knowing what to do. Because that was the first time the homeowner said it. He said, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what's going to happen with our house. So that's what piqued my interest in real estate. And I started looking through and I took the classes. And from there, I just kept on going and I never stopped.
So you were renting a house, you get a knock on the front door, it's a sheriff basically serving you, and you're like, hey, what's going on here? Were you paying rent?
Yes, I was.
So you were paying the rent. Was it a one family, two family?
It was a two-family home.
Okay. And what ultimately happened that you were renting it and the house was in foreclosure? What happened to you folks at that point?
Well, the owner that was there at the time was able to refinance it and kept the house. He didn't get it foreclosed at the end. He was able to save it from the foreclosure. And then we stayed, and about 2, 3 years later, we bought it from him.
So let me get this straight. You were renting, you basically got a knock on the front door, house is in foreclosure, and the homeowner was able to get a modification, not a refinance.
Yes,
Pro,
a
most,
modification. You're right.
the modification. Well, that's fine. That's okay. Most people think a modification is a refi. It's not. And then a couple of
Yeah.
years later, you actually purchased the property from the homeowner.
Yes.
That's an amazing story. You do realize that hardly ever happens like that.
Yeah. It's hard, but it happened with us. So we decided, that's when what piqued my interest in real estate. Knowing the foreclosure side from someone else and not from me directly. That's what was like, let me see what I could do on this end. And I was
So,
home at the time. That's when I was pregnant, expecting my youngest child. So
mhm.
I was still in the midst of knowing what else to do with my career. So I figured real estate was a good chance at that point.
So you basically turn to your husband and say, listen, this guy's going to lose the property. We're going to be out in the street. I'm intrigued. I want to go to real estate school. Is that what happened?
Yes, it is. Well, I
You're
didn't tell him. I just went on online and I signed up and I said, I'm going to do real estate. He said, I'll support you. That was it.
And that is still your current husband.
Yes, he is. Once someone supports you like that, then you stick
Right.
around with him. He supports me
100%.
on everything that I do.
Listen,
He's my cameraman right behind the camera right now. So he's the keeper.
I know, I know. You introduced me to him. He's a very nice gentleman. So let's fast forward. So now you're renting the property. You're pregnant. you're like, but we're going to go into foreclosure, but it's not our house, it's the landlord. The landlord basically explained everything to you, got what he needed to do. You stayed in the house, you rented it, then you bought it. Now, when you bought it, were you an active real estate agent at that point?
No, I wasn't. I was still in the real estate school. So this was about 4 years ago now in August. I was still in real estate school. I got my
Okay.
license about 2 months afterwards. After that,
Okay. Interesting.
I was still
And
an agent.
did you
Right.
buy the
It
property
was
as a
the time to buy.
did you buy the house as a short sale? Did it have equity in it?
No, we didn't buy it as a short sale. We bought it. We bought it at a low price. He didn't sell it to us at retail price. He gave us a good price to buy it at. So we didn't. But he didn't do a short sale.
That's a person who set you guys up for success, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I get that. All right. So how long have you been in real estate now? 4 years?
Yes, 4 years.
Okay. You're young enough to be in the industry, but you're old enough in the industry to understand the concept. Why do you think most real estate agents are not successful in real estate?
Because most people that come into real estate think that it's easy. I hear most people that are like, "Oh, that's such an easy career. I'm gonna sign up." They think it's easy money as well. They think it's just a quick sale, get it over with. Most people don't invest the time to put in the knowledge to the industry and to actually care for what you're doing. It's not just about a quick sale and move it on to the next one. It's about really finding people to trust you and guiding them along the way so they could bring you more business and being happy at what you do.
What would you say, in your opinion, is the biggest reason why a real estate agent would fail in real estate?
Lack of passion. Real estate, you have to really love what you do to be in it and to actually last on it. If you're not here because you like the business, then you're not going to last on it.
So if somebody was greedy and they were making a lot of money, you're saying that if they had the passion for basically screwing people over, making a lot of money, they wouldn't stay in the business?
Probably not, because you'll get burned out at one point, and your reputation will not stick around for people to bring you more business.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Look, the industry again that we're in, it's a service industry, and I said it before, and I've said it a million times. It's
Yeah,
not about you. It's not about me. It's really about the client.
it's about the
So
customer. Yep,
about the customer. It's about the client. It's about doing the right thing for them. And unfortunately, there's a lot of agents, and we hear stories all the time. We have a situation right now where the buyer knew it was a short sale. They were the second buyers to get involved in the property. They knew what was going on. They had the opportunity to do a value dispute, but because the approval letter was now issued, they're like, "Oh, we just did the home inspection." And first of all, the property is a short sale; it's being sold as is. And if you were going to do some type of value dispute, why wouldn't you do the value dispute before the approval letter was issued? And the response is very simple.
exactly.
I know what the response is because I hear it over and over again. Oh, I did not know that. Or my buyer's agent didn't advise me because they didn't understand what they were doing. They didn't
Lack of
understand.
information.
And that's why I try to educate people on the short sale side of it because they don't understand. And it's scary. I think the reason why it's so scary is because most people don't think that they should do continuous education after they get the real estate license. Oh my God, it took me 5 times to get my license. I'm not going back to school. CT credits.
Exactly.
I, I've heard of people taking a real estate test, passing by the skin of their teeth, and then when they have to do the continuous education, they're actually paying people to take the continuous education because they don't want to do it, they're lazy for whatever reason, or maybe they just don't understand how real estate works. So it's absolutely a wild industry, and I think that people need to understand that regardless of whatever you're doing, you should always do continuous education, even if you're not getting CT credits, which everybody always has to be this big thing. Like, well, if I'm not going to get credit for it, why would I take it? Why not better yourself?
Most of the courses that don't offer C credits are the most relevant and the best ones to know. They're the ones that give you the most information. The ones that give you the C credits, yeah, you do them because you have to do them. But there's a lot of other ones that are very good to know.
So you're saying that there's classes out there that don't offer CT credits, but they have a lot of information in it?
Yeah, there's lots of them
Not that I'm trying to self
directly from
promote.
the board.
Not that I'm trying to self promote myself, but I mean, would you tell somebody that if they want to understand short sales or how the market's headed, would you say to them, "Hey, definitely look into the short sale boot camp"?
Of course, I was there. I wouldn't do it myself and taking the weekend to do it there with you if it wasn't worth it.
I appreciate that. All right, so basically, realtors themselves, for whatever reason, they're the majority of them don't think outside the box. They have the mentality of the W-2 employee. They don't want to be a 1099. They want to do this from Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, which honestly, I mean, how do you get business? I don't even understand how you can do business like that. We've had agents where we've tried to reach out to them at 6 o'clock. Please don't call me so late. You can reach me tomorrow. You'll reach me tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's like, are you serious right now? So to me, like, I would think that people are not taking things serious when it comes to the customer service side. Let's talk about the market. 2020. You told me you were exhausted because of the people that you're helping, and I respect that. And I respect the fact that you knew that you needed time to break off so you could kind of like recharge. Where do
Yeah,
you
I
think
always
we are?
have. God,
No, go ahead. What'd you say?
as I always take the time for my family. Even when I'm here, and I of course take the time to be with you here live, but I'm still dealing with the clients that I have back. I scheduled an appraisal this morning. I have two contracts that were approved yesterday, so we always have to still be there, even though we take a day to be away or two
Right.
days to be away. We still have to be in contact with our clients. We can't disappear. It's our lifestyle at this point. It's not just a business. It has to be part of your lifestyle, and you must be in touch with them. So the 2020 market, you were gonna say?
What is your take on the market right now in 2020? What's your impression?
I think it's a time to learn. It's a time to learn and grow. I just did one of the courses that the board is offering that was of short sales and foreclosures. I think it's time for us to prepare for what's to come. All those people that had been asking for the banks to give them forbearances or postponing their mortgages, it's going to come down. It's going to catch up to everyone else, and the market is going to have a switch soon. So we need to be prepared for what's to come.
So right now the market's crazy. Interest rates are low. There's bidding wars out there on properties because of low inventory. Now, you weren't in the industry in 2005.
I was not. No.
So my question to you is, based on what you heard in 2005, would you say it has a little bit of aroma, a little smell to around 2005?
Yeah, I think it's coming back again. It will come back at some point. When everything gets so good and easy to buy, it then falls back to, the older days when things are not that easy anymore. So
Right.
as agents, we need to be prepared for those things that are to come. We can't wait for them to happen. We need to be prepared ahead of time, and we need to find out, what we're going to be able to do for our customers, for our clients when that time does come.
So right now, are people overpaying for property because of lack of inventory? Is that really what's going on, you think?
Yes, there it is. Yeah. I always run comps before I place an offer. It's not just because they're asking X price. We're gonna just overprice it because I really want it. If you don't run comps, if you don't know what you're buying, we're always overpricing. That's how prices keep increasing so quickly because people keep overpricing. There's banks now skipping appraisals just because the market is crazy.
It to me it's scary because I don't think people really understand 100% where we might be headed in the type of market that we're in, and it's disturbing because I, not all, but I do believe that the majority of agents that are out there don't care about their clients. And I can make this generalization because I see what happens from the real estate side and how people are putting the profit before the people. And when you do
Yeah.
that, like to me, how can you burn somebody in purchasing a property when you know that if something goes wrong with the house, if somebody indicates or says to a family member, "Oh, I paid this much. Oh, you paid too much for the house." So every step of the way is a reflection. Even if they don't give you a good review online and throw it up in the Google or on whatever it is that you guys use for, basically saying like agent.com or whatever it is, how great you guys are, you're going to have people out there that are going to be representing you.
Yeah.
So would you say it would make more sense to help somebody walk away from a transaction, not getting involved in a bidding war, and having them basically move forward at a later date and let them actually find the property that they're looking for?
Yeah, I do it all the time with my clients. If it's not worth it, I guide them to move on. The right one will come to you. The market right now is not easy. You're not gonna just go out one day, see a house, and say that's the one I want, and you're gonna get your offer approved. It's not happening like that anymore. Especially if you're not just throwing the money and overbidding for them. If you're doing the transaction the right way, the right property will come, but it will take some time. Most
Do
times,
you
you're not gonna be able to find it the same day.
do you know that I actually had an agent reach out to me the other day and said I've been running around with this client for the last 2 months, and they keep getting outbid on property. They found the property that they absolutely loved. It was a property that actually fell through during the attorney review. They wanted the house. They wanted the house. Now, the agent has a background in mortgages, and the agent ran the numbers with them, and they both looked at each other and literally said to the agent, "Do you not want to help us buy a house? Like, what is it?" Like jokingly. And the agent replied back and said, "I want you to buy a property, but I'm worried that you're going to be stressed out every single month on purchasing the property. Property fell out of attorney review, but the property still went up, $40,000 more. And what if it doesn't appraise at that point? You have the opportunity to pay that money out of pocket, right, or whatever it is. It's not going to make that much of a
If I
difference.
have it available.
Exactly. But the interest rate was low enough because they had really good credit that it would have made sense. But I commend the
Hmm.
agent because the agent primarily walked away from a very high commission, a lot of money, and did the right thing.
Yeah,
So for me, for somebody to do that, that means the world. Those are the types of people I want to work with. And I think 2020, I mean, it's wild. I mean, it's wild. I mean, it's just this shit that's going on is crazy. Um, Middle class people that had homes, not homes, businesses, small businesses, out of business, not closed, they're not coming back. Um, they're talking about, and I don't know how true this is or not, but I mean, like some of the Outback chains are closing. Now they're not going out of business, but they're pulling back.
they're shutting
Um,
it down.
right. Burger King franchise, I understand. Some of them are actually they're closing. They're not closing Burger King, but they're pulling back. I don't know.
Downsizing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard Victoria's Secrets is in a lot of trouble right now.
I heard that well. Yeah, there's so many industries that have been around forever that are now closing down.
I mean, out of all those that are closing down, I'm nervous. Victoria's Secret's going out of business. That's not good.
Not at all.
I like Victoria's Secrets. I don't talk
Great
about
store.
I don't talk about the secrets, but they make really great memories.
Yes, I know.
So 2020 itself is, I mean, they're talking about an asteroid that's probably, I mean, hopefully it's going to pass us. But I mean, that would be the icing on the cake. Victoria's Secrets goes out of business, and an asteroid hits the Earth. At that point, it's like
Imagine.
throw us in a space shuttle. It's cold at night.
After that, what could happen, right?
Listen, after that, you never know. So obviously, it's scary, and people themselves are they're panicked right now because of what's going on in the industry. People are worried. I've been furloughed. I'm back to work. I've been furloughed again. I'm on unemployment. I'm not on unemployment. What the government was giving out was great, but it was actually hurting business owners because it was like, look, their base salary, whatever they were making each week, and now they're making double what they used to make, and they could stay home and and basically watch Netflix all day long.
Yeah.
You do the math. I mean, that's what they were doing. Let me ask
And
you
they
this.
and they're happy at that. Most people didn't even want to go back to work with those
No, they
numbers,
didn't want to
just
go. They
sitting
didn't
home.
want to go. It's sad. I was actually at a diner this morning, and there was somebody new that was working there, and a couple new faces, but for the most part, it was the steady crew that's there. People just don't want to go back to work. They are absolutely they're petrified. So I guess every scenario is different. Who do you like working with more, investors or retail buyers?
I like working with retail buyers more. I like the feeling of helping people achieve their goal of owning real estate. I do tell my clients if there's their first home, it's always recommended to buy a multi-family home. And 2 years down the line, they'll be able to buy that single family. So I like working. I have worked with a few investors that are growing their businesses. They're new as investors. I don't like working with the investors that are just going to do a quick flip and walk away. It's I've done them. If they come to me and there's a property that I listed and they want it, yeah, I'll sell it to them, of course. But my passion is more for the retail buyer, the one that's finding that home that they want to turn into their forever home, or that transition home that will get them from owning a two-family to a single family and keeping that other home as an investment. Helping people grow. That's my passion.
I appreciate that. My guest today is Adriana Cueva. You can reach her on her cell. You can call, you can text. Don't text after 10 because then it just gets weird. Her number is 973-350-4218. It's 973-350-4218. Right now, we're talking about the topic. What's that?
So call me.
Right now, we're talking about the topic of either working with investors or retail buyers. She loves working with retail buyers, but if you're an investor, guys, she does live in Newark, so I'm assuming that she does come across properties that do pop up. So definitely reach out, use her as a resource. The purpose of this 12 o'clock show, this live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, is to educate people and let people know that there are people out there in the real estate community that are still getting things done. They're not staying home. They're not, closing the curtains and basically saying, "No, I can't go out to the rest of the world." When this all went down, and basically the world was shutting down, what was going through your head?
I didn't stop. The only maybe I took maybe a week that I was home and I did that short sale and foreclosure certification with the board. That was the only thing that I did. I kept on going. I'm working with Ironman Community Corporation as well. It's a nonprofit in there inbound in Newark. So the time that it was time to stop in real estate, it was time to focus on our community and being a resource to everyone out there on other things that they might need. So for me, it wasn't a time to stop. It was just a time to take care, but keep doing what you're doing and doing it better.
That's amazing. You have an amazing outlook. How old are your children, if you don't mind me asking?
My children are 16 and 6. They're 10 years apart.
16 and 6.
Yeah.
And what is your impression, or how are they looking at the outlook? Because you said you were the first member of your family to go to college and get a degree. What do you hope, or what do you hope for as far as dreams for your children? Do you want them to be involved in real estate? Is there something that maybe you feel that they would be more suited for with their personalities?
My youngest, my 6-year-old, he's all set ready for real estate at this point. Like he's really much grown into it. Like he drives by a house, he's like, mom, like the house where we are now on vacation. And he's like, Mom, you should buy a house here and maybe sell it again. and things like that. He comes with me to show him sometimes when things were better, and he would say, "Yeah, this is a nice house," or "No, I don't like this house for this reason," or anything or other. My daughter, I don't think her passion is real estate. She says, "Mom, I see you're too busy and stressed sometimes. That's not for me. I just want them to be happy. You know, whatever they do, make sure that your career is something that you're going to be passionate about." That's what I tell them all the time. Make sure you're doing something that you love, not just something that gives you a paycheck.
You sound like a responsible parent,
I try.
and I can appreciate that. Obviously, my kids hear the stuff that I go through on a day-to-day business. I don't like to get upset. I don't like to get loud. I don't like to, butt heads with attorneys and real estate agents. I think that people get into this industry and or they should get out of this industry when it's not fun anymore, or they look at it as more mundane, it's a job, and they're looking at all these people purchasing these nice properties or rental properties. And I have to say, there's a lot of jealousy.
Yes.
Even with my company. My company gets, a specific fee and or a percentage. And then we'll have real estate agents say, well, you're making more than my company. Wow, we're doing 93% of the work. We're going to get this thing to the finish line. Yeah, I mean, look, you listed it or you brought the buyer, but there's a lot of stuff that's behind the scenes. So I try to let people know, if you know somebody who's in distress on their property, they really should find out their options before it's too late.
Yes. And you should really guide them to the right source. You should send them to people that have knowledge, like you, Matt, and not try to do a short sale on your own if you have no idea or never done one before. Guide them to the right location, guide them to the right resource that's actually going to help them and not just, try to see what happens. That doesn't work.
The education that we offer to people, we educate, people are like, dude, you're telling people what you do, you're showing them your tricks. As far as it's not a trick, we're using the rules, regulations, and guidelines. That's what we're using. But
Yeah, but you
people,
you could give people the book, and that doesn't mean they're gonna read the whole thing. That doesn't mean they're actually gonna input it and do what everything that you're telling them to do. You know, they're gonna
then,
say, yeah, 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 but then at the end of the day, are they actually gonna put the time to do it
no,
and have the knowledge that you have? They won't.
they're
As
not.
long
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I feel bad for the homeowner or homeowners that are in trouble, because there are people. I mean, there are files that come to us, and people are like, "Well, we thought we could get this one done, but we can't." You know what? Look, they got to stay in their house for 5 years. They didn't pay any rent, so if the house goes to foreclosure, it is what it is. That's horrible. Like, if the
Yes.
homeowner knew that the person that listed the property basically took the stance on, well, you know what, it is what it is, and it didn't work out. That's the mentality of throwing shit up against the wall, and if it sticks, great. If it doesn't, I don't really care. I move on. And that mentality upsets me. So we have actually worked with real estate agents that we've done one and done, and I mean one and done, and that was it. We've done it with investors. We've had even retail buyers that purchased the property, and they just feel like, you know what, I don't really care. That's your job. This is what I want, and I don't want to pay your fee. So, and that's horrible, because you put my company in a bad situation. You put our homeowners in a worse situation. We have a transaction right now where the buyer is not responding, and it's heartbreaking. And I had to respond to the email chain and say, guys, listen, we can't get a live body on the phone in the next 24 hours, then the transaction should be killed.
Yep.
So I'm waiting to hear back from that. It's like they don't care, and that's really, and I think that's really what it comes down to. And it's very sad, and they shouldn't have to put somebody in a situation like that. It's just not fair. That's my personal opinion.
Exactly. This is a business that you actually have to care about and do your best, not just do it for the quick money.
Guys,
Because
my
short sales take their sweet time, and it's somebody's home. It's something important. It's just not something to throw up in the air and see what comes back.
no, it's not. Um, Guys, my guest today is Adriana Cueva, and I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to cut it short because I know you're on vacation. But it's important that if somebody's out there in the Essex County area, what counties do you cover?
I cover Essex, Union, and Middlesex County. I do go for further more. If people need me somewhere else, and if it's the right opportunity, I'll be there. I'm working with buyers in Sussex County right now, so I am willing to travel within an hour of Newark.
So Essex, Middlesex, and Union.
Yes.
Now, I love when real estate agent because you are in New Jersey, you're a New Jersey real estate agent, and I love when agents are like, oh, well, what part of New Jersey you cover? I cover it all. You
You
cover it
can't.
all.
A one-person show cannot cover everything.
No, you can't do that. Listen,
I'll
before
refer you to someone else.
of
If
course,
someone I trust in another area that I don't cover, I'm more than happy to find someone that's actually going to take the time to work with that buyer or seller in that area. But if it's not within my arm's reach, I'm not going to take it.
guys,
I
at
don't want
12
to get.
o'clock. No, I appreciate that. Guys, the 12 o'clock show is on for a reason. If you or someone who would like to be a guest on the show and add some value, and it's real estate related, love to have you on. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays right now, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. At the bottom of the screen, there's a short sale training boot camp that's going to be coming up in October. If you or somebody who might want to attend, learn more about short sales, it's rrgbootcamp.com, rrgbootcamp.com. Jan, I really appreciate you coming on. At the end of every single one of these calls, I ask people to see if they can emulate and do the finger point. Do you think you can do it?
What are we doing?
There you go.
I'm a pro.
I love it. I'm going to give you a 7.5 for the finger right there. Appreciate that. As long as you give me this finger and you don't give me the other finger, we're good.
Or just yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming on. Hold on one sec. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Love it.